Hi everybody, Chris here from Truly Holistic. Now this video is about weight and weight loss. Okay, now been working with a few clients in regards to weight, and there's that old saying in regards to I've changed my diet, I'm hardly eating, but there's this I've lost a bit of weight, but then all of a sudden it stops. Okay, and it just there's this weight or weight or fat around that middle that will just not go, okay, or will not budge. Now, doing a lot of work in regards to this, and mainly around your microbes in the body, okay, and I wanted to talk a bit about this in this video, is that that general bloat, sometimes it can be weight, it can be adipose tissue accumulated on the body, especially in that midsection. Especially for men, that pear shape, we put a lot of weight around that middle, and it increases your risk of a heart attack or cardiovascular disease. And then obviously for women is around that area as well, but also the hips, the buttock area, where there's a lot of weight put on. Now, quite a lot of this is an imbalance of your microbial kingdom, essentially, in your body. You are essentially a farmer for microbes. There are more DNA, more cells, more RNA and telomeres of microbes than there is of your own. So really you're a farmer of microbes, and really the key to your health is the balance of those microbes. And you might have heard me in previous videos, that whole analogy of like a parliament or government, like where you have so many seats in the house, and who has a majority of the seats then is control of the health or the ecological system of your internal terrain, okay? And so that balance is obviously between friendly bacteria and then pathogenic bacteria, fungus, mold, yeast, all these sorts of things. Now, so what we've been doing, what's been coming up a lot with people that are wanting to lose weight, is bringing balance to that microbial part of yourself. So we call that the microbiome, the microbiota, or your gut, okay? Now, obviously there's microbes everywhere in your body, including your skin, but there is a center piece of you that is huge in regards to the microbes, is your gut. And so what we do is we look for one thing, what I've found in regards to calcium, okay, and that calcium evolves, okay, it's more like a microbe than it is a mineral, and what it does, it evolves and it ferments, okay, and for a wee while I've been looking for what is creating this fermentation process, which attracts all these microbes that are not so good for us to increase in their numbers, and a lot of the time it's been telling me dead tissue or decayed tissue in the body, okay, and that creates a process. It's exactly the same outside of our body when we look at something that has died, or there's a piece of meat or animal flesh that's just been sitting there and it's been fermenting and decaying. You'll notice that it's just all these bugs and everything around it. It's exactly the same analogy within our body. Now, a lot of the times that dead tissue within your body, what I'm finding out is calcium, okay? Calcium starts it off a majority of the time. This whole calcium consciousness, and then the physical manifestation of the consciousness of calcium is the secretion, which we call the mineral calcium, okay? It's with so many terms. Dolomite, which is crystallized calcium, inorganic calcium, calcium deposits, oxalates, non-compatible calcium, limestone, this calcification, there's so many words to the same thing. And what that does, it creates an environment then for a fermentation process to occur. Now, we know the idea of fermentation when we try to increase a friendly bacteria strain, right? Sauerkraut, fermented veggies, and there's a lot of drinks out there, kombucha and all these sorts of things that are trying to give us more of the friendly kind of microbes into our body. What about the flip side of a fermentation process for the bad guys? Okay, and we're talking about balance here. Who's going to have the majority of what makes your body tick? And then lo and behold, we have a fermentation process, and then all the bad guys, the pathogenic bacteria, the fungus, the yeast, the mold, the candida, all these things create an environment for then cancer to grow, okay? And you'll quite often hear people feel like they've got it down pat of what cancer is. One person will say it's a fungus, one person will say it's a yeast, one person will say it's a parasite. They're all kind of right. They've all got one piece of the puzzle, okay? It starts off from a fermentation process, and it's a microbe imbalance problem in the body. That is what cancer is. Now, so what we do is we then correct that microbe imbalance, okay? And that's going to help then remove the bloat, one, okay? Because a lot of the times when we see a distended abdomen, yes, it can be accumulation of fat cells, adipose tissue, but a lot of the times it's our intestines that are swollen and inflamed. And actually, if there is a fat layer on top of that, then it gets distended even further to make you look like, hey, I've put on more weight, or more fat, but it's just more the fact that your intestines are just massively inflamed. Okay, and that's what creates the bloating, because one thing that comes with fermentation, and anybody would know, drinking a soda or a beer or something like that, where there's a fermentation process, or wine, that there's carbonation to that beverage, isn't it? Or that substance. That's an excess of carbon dioxide, and that just naturally occurs when there's a proliferation of microbes, which comes through the fermentation process. And what do you think, if you have that process in your gut or your digestive system, what's going to happen? It's going to bloat out, it's going to distend, right? So it all makes sense. So we do that in regards to weight issues. Now, what I do also want to talk about microbes is that for people that have problems with addiction as well, for example, smoking or alcohol or a particular food substance, say sugar. Now, when you go cold turkey and you give up smoking, give up alcohol, give up sugar, you find it difficult, right? Because, do you know why it's difficult? Because there's microbes within you that break that substance down. And if you're not feeding them, then they are starving and they make you suffer, right? And they can change your consciousness. Microbes have consciousness. They change your own consciousness. They use you as a host. And if you don't give them what they want to feed on, then they make your life a misery, okay? And then after that, you have to die off of that type of microbe that will sustain themselves from the smoking that you were the smoke that you're smoking, the alcohol, or that food substance, or it could be a drug of some form as well. And then all of a sudden you have the diet of that microbe. And remember, a lot of these microbes, especially parasites, they feed on stuff and then they have to poop just like we do, and then we have to take on their waste products as well as our own, and our blood can become very toxic, especially if the digestive system compromised and you have a leaky gut as well. That's a very serious problem. So anyway, I thought I'd do this video in regards to weight. Obviously, we also look at, in regards to weight, hormone imbalance as well, and that may be to do a leptin or a ghrelin as well, which is your satiating hormone or your hunger hormone, those sorts of things. We may look at other hormones and try and correct it as well. It can be even adrenal fatigue. We may need to look at cortisol levels in the body as well, which is a stress hormone, and then that creates emotional cascade that makes you eat again. So there are a number of factors in regards to why we put on weight, but a big part of it is definitely the microbe component of it, and I wanted to share you about that in this video. So if you're ever wanting to lose that stubborn bit of weight, or just wanting to get involved into weight loss, definitely book an appointment here at Truly Holistic, and we can help you in regards to rebalancing the microbes in your digestive system. It won't only help you with your weight loss, but it also just will help you with putting the odds in your favor, reducing the likelihood of many health problems occurring within you. Obviously the top of the list is cancer and those types of problems, but a number of problems are caused by a microbial imbalance, not only in the gut. If you've got problems with a irregular heart rate, it could mean you've got a microbe imbalance within the heart or within the cardiovascular system as well, especially in some of your main arteries. Because if you've got a microbiome imbalance and you've got too many of the wrong microbes in that area, then that creates irritation or damage to your arterial wall, and then your cholesterol numbers will increase, because the body is sending cholesterol there to patch that job up. Cholesterol's not the problem, folks. It's just there to patch the problem up. It is an indicator. I like to call it a marker, a bit like inflammation and pain. It's a marker to tell you something's not right somewhere. Cholesterol's not the problem, pain's not the problem, inflammation's not the problem. They are markers to tell you something's not right in that area of the body. And a lot of the time is a microbial imbalance that does stem from a calcium problem or a calcification problem. So if you'd like work done in regards to any of that, book an appointment at trulyholistic.net and we can help you out. Bye.